So normally when we start a walk around or a behind the wheel or introduce a new car, I've got some great things to say prior to the introduction of the car, but here absolutely none, because I just want to get straight into it. Folks, this is the all-new Toyota Innova Zenix. Now, you may have seen this already before on a behind the desk episode, but now it's in the metal, so to speak. And I'm not gonna waste your time. I'm gonna dive right into it and tell you what are the key things that you will find inside this automobile. The first being its name, Zenix. Now, the name Zenix is given to someone of high intelligence, and Jack joked that it's obviously not my name. Thanks a lot, buddy. I love you too. So in this car, I think it's perfect because of exactly what is underneath. So the biggest thing so far is the fact that it is obviously a hybrid. That's exactly what it is, a hybrid. It's also very hot. My goodness. How do you, oh, there you go. Okay. I'm tall enough to do this. Am I tall enough to do this? Yes, I am. Folks, underneath you will find a 2-liter 4-cylinder gasoline engine mated to a CVT, accompanied by, of course, an electric motor. Now, the gasoline engine produces 150 horses and 188 newton meters of torque. Now, while the electric motor can produce 83 kilowatts, or roughly about 112 horsepower, and 188 newton meters of torque. Do not obviously expect to add whatever it is that the combustion engine can do with that of the electric motor and then you get like 400 newton meters of torque. No, it doesn't work that way. But I can tell you that this particular engine on the Q, which is the hybrid variant, is actually a little bit more detuned than the engine that's found on the sheer gasoline variant. But combined with the electric motor, obviously this is going to be a lot more fun in the sense of it's probably got a lot more oomph to it. Now, that is obviously one of the biggest changes of the Innova Zenix. Before I continue, I must add, this is very important. For those of you guys that still want to get your hands on the diesel variant of the Innova, worry not, those are still going to be sold in tandem with the Zenix. So the Zenix is basically sort of like the buffed line of it, and the Innova diesel engines will still be there. Now, back to the Zenix, let's talk about the exterior a little bit and what makes this different from the non-hybrid variant. Obviously, it's an all-new shape, an all-new look for this Toyota Innova Zenix. It's got basically somewhat of a boldness to it, a little bit of refinedness to it. Jack, what were the two terms that you thought of earlier?
Glamorous and tough.
Glamorous and tough, which is exactly what this car is. It's got toughness of it, obviously because it's a Toyota and is from the pedigree of Innova. And then, yet it's also matured so much that it's very, very glamorous. So I think Jack has actually hit that on the nail on the head.
Now, take credit for that. That's what
do not take credit. Don't take credit for it. We'll understand. So obviously, let's go with the design at first. A very, very large grille up front. You'll notice that there is no blue badge on this particular Toyota, which signifies those that are hybrids. There is none here, but then I guess you can't mistake this automobile for anything else. And besides, there are hybrid patches on either side of the vehicle and behind as well. LED headlamps, and then on this hybrid, the top of the line, the Q, you will find DRLs found down here, which also double as your signal lights. On the non-hybrid, just the simple gasoline variant, there are no turn signals found down there. Let's move on down the side, shall we? You have repeaters on the side mirror and cameras on the side mirror as well, which means that yes, you have a 360-degree camera or view inside this automobile. You also have 18-inch wheels, which are very, very nice. When have you ever heard anybody said 18-inch wheels on basically an Innova? That is fantastic. Windows are very, very large and it tapers down here. Doesn't exactly match the end here, but it does taper nonetheless. And you've got body lines here. You also have black cladding above so that it sort of like gives it a very raised feel, a very strong feel in fact. And then the ground clearance is 185 millimeters. So great enough to traverse through anything inside the metro, whether it's a little bit lubak here and there or during the rainy seasons when the floods start coming in. Now, another big question is the size of the automobile, which I'm sure you're trying to figure out by now. Is it bigger, smaller than the current diesel Innova, as what we'll call it? What I can tell you that it is 20 millimeters wider, the body itself, okay? And then it's longer, the body, by about another 20 millimeters. Compared to the diesel Innova, it's 5 millimeters shorter, so barely anything. But here's the huge thing. The wheelbase of this automobile is 100 millimeters longer. Now that might not seem like a lot because 100 millimeters really isn't, but just think about just exactly how much space that means on the inside of the automobile, which we will definitely get to in a little while. But let me take you first to the rear. At the back, also something very new to the Innova nameplate. Essentially, you've got a power tailgate. How do you like them apples? Never did I think I'd see the day, and that is awesome. Also, never did I think I'd see the day that on a much larger automobile produced by Toyota is that seats that wouldn't fold down into the side. Nope. The third row of this car, if I can just get all of these out of the way, folds in a manner that it's flat. So it's extremely usable space back here. This is Jack's bag, which gives you about maybe about 100, 200 liters of space in the back. But when you fold the third row, ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at over 900 liters of space, and that is awesome. Good job on Toyota on that because they've maximized the space inside an Innova. And I think, to be honest with you, if the engine isn't a big selling point, I think this really is. And if I did my job properly, I would have put balikbayan boxes in here. But wait, I'm gonna do right now. Four balikbayan boxes fit easily inside the Zenix. This is just really remarkable because if you've seen the previous cargo compartment of, well, not the previous, but the current diesel models, that the cargo compartment, there's no way that you could have fit 4 balikbayan boxes in there. No ifs, ands, and buts. Hey, Jack, watch out. Ah! Good job. So now that we're done with the rear of the automobile, which is thoroughly impressive, I want to know if the third row is thoroughly impressive as well. But before that, let me just put these guys up. Very easy. Slant it in such a manner, like a low rider, and put that. Don't show them our mess, Jack. Come on, concentrate, buddy. You never show them what happens behind the scenes, bro. What's wrong with you? Jack, I'm serious, man. Come on. This ain't no game, bruh. Getting to the third row is a breeze. You can either slide the chair forward very easily, or if the person that's sitting here couldn't be bothered, you can actually go around them. I know what you're thinking. You're pretty happy right now because you're looking at a captain's chairs. I am too, but we'll get to that in just a moment. Let's talk about the third row first. So, the third row, if I can just move this a little bit faster. No, it's powered. So, yeah. Okay, thanks. Third row. Now, Toyota says that this particular area of the automobile is not a 2-seater, but rather a 3-seater, hence the third headrest here. And if I'm being completely honest with you, if the passengers back here were of my size, then yes, it definitely wouldn't be an issue. Any larger, normal size passengers, like let's say, for example, Jack, or let's say, for example, Earl. Wait, no, Earl's smaller than me. Jack would probably be comfortable if there were just two of them, two of Jacks back here, like Jack and myself.
A bit of an issue.
Yeah, I'll show that a little bit later. So seating, your butt space is actually pretty decent, and you slide through quite easily as well. And then obviously these things go up for more comfort. Toys back here, there is a 12-volt socket. And then you've got cup holders on either side, and there's a decent amount of air that comes in through the side, so that's okay. What I do like, I need to point out, is that look at my legs. I'm very comfortable in this position because it's not as if that my legs are coming to my face, you know, like as if I'm a 10-footer driving a truck. I like this because this is very comfortable. It's cool. It's so cool that you can sit properly, and then if you're not here, you can actually tumble it down. We have so much cargo space, and I think this is brilliant from Toyota. I'm loving this third row. I don't want to live here, but I'm loving this third row. If I love it this much, I'm sure that the second row will also be a heck of a lot of fun because in the second row, you will find, as I mentioned, captain's chairs. It is a bit of an issue to move this back down because it's powered and it does take some time. Now, I'm just being spoiled because in honesty, I'm glad that it's powered because then I feel like a king, which is what you have when you sit on a throne. No, Jack, not that kind of throne. Get your head out of the toilet. I'm gonna close the door here and allow the air to cool the cabin, which is really nice. I just noticed that there are mood lights up in this place. Check it out. I'm loving that. Okay, so let's talk about these seats a little bit more. They are on rails and moving them forward and back is very, very easy. You've got, oh, come on, an armrest right here. Oh, there you go. It locks, there you go. I can get this. It's like a game in the fair. Come on. Come on. Come on. Yeah, it's not happening. Anyway, I'm sure it's me. It's not the car. So you've got your own captain's chairs here. And then you've got electronic futon that comes out of nowhere. So if you decide to push yourself all the way back and you have a shorter driver, I would suppose, you can relax. Let's put this back. Again, it's powered, so it takes a little bit of time. But the futon's nice because then you can chill like a villain. I love it. Now, it's important to mention that all Zenixes, be it the hybrid or the non-hybrid, so the hybrid is the Q, the non-hybrid is just the V, if I'm not mistaken. All of them do come with captain's chairs. No Zenix will come with a diesel engine, and no Zenix will come with a row in the second, or rather a bench in the second row and a bench in the third row. No, this is the configuration. What will differ inside the non-hybrid is that you will not have leather all around the cabin. That's one thing. And the other thing is that also you will not have power seats. And then the third, you will not have obviously a futon. If you don't have power seats, you won't have a power futon. Now, to continue here in the hybrid, I got it! I'm so good. There is a cool tray right here in the center. I like that. 2 cup holders, and then you fold that in such a manner. I'm going to end up breaking this thing, so I'm just going to leave it there. Air vents up on top, lights on top, mood lights, I mentioned that. Bottle holders on either door, which are good, and I think it's definitely big enough to carry my bottle, but not Jack's bottle. Your air controllers are found here. Air control, not temperature control, including, is this the mood light button?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I'm sure that only activates when the lights are on. And then more importantly, you've also got 2 USB charging points that are type C. I like that. And then, because it's an Innova, you got a 4 kilogram hook right there. Actually, that is very, very useful. It's more useful than you think. Not more than just shopping bags, but when you're carrying bananas to feed Jack. Wow, I didn't even go there, man. That's just, wow. I'm gonna get into trouble for that because you said it. Because I'm supposed to be the responsible one and you're the irresponsible child. And you know how much trouble you're gonna get me into? You know how much trouble you're gonna get me into, my wife, Jack? It's just... Inside the driver's seat, first off, this is, power seats for the driver. Are they power for the passenger? Nope, not power for the passenger. Close her up. The first thing that I noticed is the dashboard is very, very flat, which is great because then you have an unimpeded view of the road. As to are the quarter windows that you will find, because that adds a lot of light into the car. The A-pillars are not that big at all, which are really, really great. To continue on the dashboard, you've got places, you got a cubby hole here to put your phone in, and then you've got a 12-volt socket found right there, which I think I like a lot because now it's a lot more accessible. And I like the fact that accessories are accessible. Did that make... Yeah, that made sense. You've got a 10.1-inch touchscreen infotainment system that has wireless Apple CarPlay, but wired Android Auto. I'm not complaining, at least that there is. This is a Innova after all. Speaking of just an Innova, look at it. There is an auto-dimming mirror in an Innova. This is amazing, man. Okay, digital air controls. You have a digital display for your air. Your buttons are right here, which you can get to. Your stick is actually quite erect. Reminds me of, nope, we're not gonna go there, Jack. You've got drive modes here, you got your auto hold here, and of course, since this is an EV, after all, you've got EV mode. It's got like that traction control. The infotainment screen is much like that you will find in much larger vehicles, like let's say, for example, the Fortuner and the Camry.
Not Fortuner.
Not Fortuner, sorry. Thank you, Jack. Just the Camry. So it's actually quite similar to that, and it's something that you're used to. The steering wheel, you've got your cruise control on your right-hand side, your auto controls on your left, a little bit more leather on the left, and on the seats, obviously. No air vents on these seats, not like you will find on the Fortuner. That, I think, that maybe would have been too much already, I think. It's already looking good as it is so far. I would like the screen to be a little bit clearer, but we can probably discuss that on a different day, perhaps on a review. Then you've got two cup holders here, along with your bottle holders on the door, and then a center console that opens oddly enough to the side, but it's really deep. Like, it's really deep. I can fit my whole arm in there. Anyway, we're really not supposed to do this, but we can go for a quick drive because I want to explain to you that this car is not anymore a body on frame. This automobile is now a unibody, which promises to be a smoother ride and a more stable ride. So we can't go very fast in these streets, but let's give it a once over to see just exactly how it feels. Come on and join us. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel because we create all these videos just for you guys. Oh, I know I mentioned this, but I gotta show you. Check this out. 360-degree camera. So on this very, very quick drive that we are on, and we can't really go far or that fast because these are private streets after all, it's not a highway, I can tell you that immediately the first thing that all the passengers inside this car, which is Jack, Carlos, and myself, felt like it's actually very, very smoother. Much, much smoother than the non-Zenix Innovas that are currently still being sold. Much smoother. It's a big difference to say that this is a unibody. Yeah, there's a big, big change. And the steering wheel is very light. It doesn't feel clunky or chunky at all. It feels like, you know, I dare say it's actually closer to that feeling of being an SUV. Very stable and extremely quiet. Even earlier when we were taking photographs of this automobile, it's just so quiet. Now, as we mentioned also earlier, there's no way to say that the electric motor inside this automobile is exactly an add to the gasoline engine inside this automobile. You can't add those figures, but we can tell you that it is obviously more powerful than that of the non-hybrid version of the Zenix. So what I'm gonna try and do just now is give you my first impression. I'm going to slow it down. I'm going to put it on red, which is most likely sport, and we're gonna see how exactly it feels like when it pulls. So we're doing roughly less than 20 kilometers per hour. Guys, are you ready? Here we go. There's a bit of a lag because it is a CVT, but hey, there's a pull. There's a very, very good pull. And the steering wheel is still light. I like that. And there are paddles? There's paddles on this, guys. Did you know this? There's paddles on this thing. Paddles and an Innova. Amazing. Dude, what else can this car cook too? Just wondering. Now, obviously, the power is not going to be as if you've driven a diesel Innova before, where the power is just, it's like one big punch. But the nice thing is, in this car, when you do floor it, the power is continuous. So I can easily see myself, even in this gasoline variant, to keep up with the traffic as, let's say, for example, if I'm getting out from a gasoline station on the expressway and I need to get up to speed immediately, I think it will definitely get up to speed quite easily. And considering that the car right now has a full tank, and it may not be full capacity of passengers, but there's 3 of us inside this automobile, and it's really it's a breeze to drive. Now, I will save most of our impressions of this automobile for a behind the wheel when we do get it, but that's not going to stop me from telling you one of the more important parts about this car, which is the price. So the only thing that's left to tell you really is the price of the automobile. Now, while we did mention it on our behind the desk, there's a little bit of a change. We got the price wrong. That's a nice way of saying, please listen to us now and not listen to us then. Anyway, the price of the Zenix, the all-gasoline variant, comes in at 1,670,000 Philippine pesos. That's for basically what looks like this with the captain's chairs, but it doesn't have leather and some of the other jazz that comes with it. But this top-of-the-line variant, the Q variant, the hybrid, comes in at 1,968,000 Philippine pesos. Now, I'm sure that everybody's got a lot of questions to ask, which I hope to answer all of it when we get this car for a proper review on Behind the Wheel. But before we answer those questions, I'd like to know what your questions are going to be when we do review this car. And I'd also like to know, like, are you guys happy with the design, the interior design or the exterior design of the new Toyota Innova Zenix? Do you think it's a good stepping stone as to what Toyota has plans in the future? And then I also want to know, do you think that this, an Innova being a hybrid, is really a very, very large gate for everyone to jump in and start using sort of hybrid vehicles to get cleaner and cleaner out there? And finally, I'd like to know, for those nostalgic ones out there, do you kind of wish that Toyota would come out with a Zenix, but with a diesel engine to boot? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay safe. I will see you soon.